you. Perfect. Okay, well, welcome everyone to our session this morning. We have a couple of hours bracketed off, and we may go the full 2 hours. Sometimes we're done in about 90 minutes. This is your onboarding welcome session. This is what I tell people who join the session is that this is your corporate welcome. This is meant to complement any onboarding that you may be doing at the departmental level. So it's not the be-all and end-all. It's one piece of a greater onboarding experience. By means of introductions here, my name is Dean Cutler, and I'm going to be the facilitator here today for the session. And my title is Manager of Corporate Organizational Development here with the Center for Learning and Development. And essentially, if you have any questions related to your onboarding experience and anything that I'm going to be covering here today, I've also provided my contact information there for you so that you can contact me. And feel free, by the way, anytime after the session to reach out to me if you have any questions or want some guidance with anything. So we'll begin. Each meeting we like to do little safety minutes, and this session is no different. I want to get your minds flowing here this morning. So I've been using the theme of safe driving for the past few months, and it always generates some great responses, and I'm really looking forward to hearing what you have to say. You're going to see your screen change, and I'm going to give you a chance to share some of your safe driving tips, and you'll see your screen change yet again. So let's just see what you have in mind. What are some safe driving tips that you can pass on? And you can enter your responses there in the chat board. Oh, certainly not. No, there you go, too, right off the bat. Don't text and drive, you know, makes perfect sense. Speed limits, yes. I have a nightmare story about speeding, I can tell you. Only time in my life. At $345 later, I wasn't very happy, but check blind spots, definitely. Wearing seat belts, obviously don't drink and drive. We've got a couple of responses there on that. Back into your parking spot, always the best practice for sure. Using your signals, pay attention to weather conditions, definitely. Don't join this session while driving, no. While there is capability to do that, I don't ever recommend it, so very good point there. Using your mirrors, definitely. Don't cross red lights. Don't use cruise control in rain. You have to be very cautious in rain due to that hydroplaning and whatnot. Motorcycles, yes, always have an eye out. Use your indicators. And always use defensive driving and stay alert. And that includes, you know, making sure you have enough rest when you're driving. We heard something recently about that. Weaving in and out of traffic, in and out of lanes, definitely. I'll give you another few seconds for anyone who wants to do any last-minute chime-ins there. See, we have one more person typing, a couple more actually. And now the suspense is killing me. There we go. Always be aware of your surroundings, definitely. And report offensive drivers. A couple more coming in. All great suggestions, by the way. And I'm always very pleased when people respond to this question because it is very important. We often think about safety at the workplace, and that is you know, a major thing to consider. But also, we need to get to work safe, right? So, wear appropriate shoes. I know what you're saying there. Never been a flip-flop kind of guy myself, but they're not exactly great for driving, in my experience. And don't drink and drive, definitely. All great responses, folks. Thanks so much for that, and thanks for participating. Yeah, like I said, we like to start off every meeting and every training session with a little safety minute, and today's no exception, and I'm really thankful that you took part in that and shared your safe driving practices. We'll move along again in the presentation. I just got one little thing here I want to go over. A little bit about today's session first and foremost. The times, like I said, we have 2 hours allocated. I'm more than happy to stay on after the 2 hours if anyone has any questions at the end of the session, for example. So we have a couple of hours for that. You're going to have a lot of opportunity in this session to participate and some opportunity to network as well. You know, by all means, this is your session. It's meant to help you in your transition into your new role in government, and by all means, participate. Wireless devices, and because of the nature of the session here today, I'd also recommend a couple things. I've already mentioned the importance of muting your microphone or your phone, and again, you could do that by just clicking on the microphone or phone symbol at the top of the window here. We can hear everything, so if you have an external phone, cellular phone or whatever that rings, and if you're not muted, we can hear it. We will be using some polling today for you to get you engaged in the session, and also the chat board is always there for you to use. And Lynn, I do see that you've joined. Thank you so much, and I'll check you out the attendance there. So we'll get started now into the session. One of the things that we're always quite delighted to have is a member of our executive team come by and just do a very informal welcome to you as new employees of the government of Newfoundland and Labrador. This morning I'm actually joined by my Deputy Minister, Bruce Cooper, hence my good behavior. He's Deputy Minister of the Executive Council Human Resource Secretariat. And I'll pass the headset over to Bruce now, and we'll just give a quick second here. I'm just going to mute because you're going to hear the microphone. So I'm just going to mute you for 1 second as I pass the headset over to Bruce.
Good morning, everybody. I trust that you can all hear me. Well, I'm as Dean said, I'm Bruce Cooper, and I'm the Deputy Minister for the Human Resource Secretariat. And I'm very pleased to be here today to represent the executive team for government and to bring welcoming remarks to you. So indeed, on behalf of the executive group, we're delighted to have, I think I can see over Dean's shoulder that there's a nice cross-section of people online today. I think we have some students that are here as part of cooperative placements, some summer students I would expect, as well as new employees. And so what a wonderful cross-section we have online across the province. So very pleased to be able to welcome you all to work in government, whether it's for a short time, for a job experience piece, or for the beginning of a career. I sit here today having being, I think, in my 26th year of working in the public sector in a variety of roles. Started my career in 1990 as a social worker in child protection. Still think that might have been the hardest job I ever had in many ways. And from the experience on the front line in doing social work, and then laterally in the healthcare system in psychiatry, really came to see the role that public policy plays in the lives of people, and the way that how you have programs set up, how they're delivered, how the policies are prepared, has a deep personal impact on the psychological and social well-being of people. And thus, with that thought in mind, started for me a career in leadership positions. And I've had the blessing to work in when government declared new legislation allowing the social profession to self-regulate. I was lucky enough to be the first executive director and registrar that set that organization up back in the early 90s. and then became a vice president in a health board for a few years, for 5 years, and then then came to government back in 2002, I think it was, although time is starting to blur together a little bit, and came in to work in the cabinet office, work in cabinet secretariat to provide advice to government around policy issues, and then went to become the Assistant Deputy Minister for Policy and Planning for Labor Relations, and then a Assistant Secretary to Cabinet for Social Policy, with a short stint in helping to set up the new Department of Child, Youth and Family Services. And then an ADM for Health and Community Services, and then a Deputy Minister for Health and Community Services, where I served for almost 6 years as Deputy Minister of Health, and now, since October, Deputy Minister of HRS. So this is how fast 26 years can go, and I think the point of illustrating career path is just to point out to you that inside the public service there are incredible opportunities for growth, for development, for contribution. And I've been blessed to be able to have wonderful opportunities, truly motivated by the same desire that I had when I graduated from university, which was I just want to do something where I make a difference. And that's what called me to the public service, and that's what still motivates me every day. And I know I work with a huge community of people in the public service that are exactly the same way, that are motivated by the desire to see their small fingerprint on a team effort to make services work better for people. And it really doesn't matter where people work in the public service, whether a person is on the front lines doing child protection work, as I started, whether a person is doing policy analysis, providing support to the human resource function for government, helping balance the books in finance, greeting people on a front desk, driving a snow plow, keeping our roads clear, and on with, there's such an array of important things that of services that get delivered in the public service. I have met in every single part of our province and throughout various departments people who are motivated by the same desire to make a difference. And so this is a great place to work for those of you that are students and that are testing out perhaps public service for the first time. The public service is perhaps, I think, one of the more complex places to work. It is an environment of constant change. We are not, unlike private sector, which is motivated by producing value for shareholders and on a kind of a quarterly basis. We are motivated by the desire to produce value for the public. The public is not a single shareholder. It is diverse. There are diverse needs, and it is our job to meet the full diversity of needs of the public with the services that we provide. And so with that diversity comes great complexity. There's no black and white answers inside the policy dilemmas that face the public service. And so we're frequently challenged by resource issues. You may have heard we have some happening right now with the budgetary situation facing the province. But these things, some of you may have heard that the Chinese symbol for crisis is the same as for opportunity. Inside every circumstance like we currently find ourselves, there is opportunity to do better. And it is those of us in the public service that our political partners, our political masters, depend upon to come forward with the ideas for how we can drive a continuing quality service for the public, get better value for the money that we have, and still produce quality results for the people of the province. And so there is opportunity at times like right now. It's ever more important for the public service to step up with the diligent, high-quality advice that we have to bring for how we can do things better. So no matter what role you're occupying in in the public service now at the beginning of your time, I would encourage you to approach your role with this kind of fresh perspective, to always challenge yourself to find ways to do better. There is no room for complacency in the public service. There's and we're at a time when the opportunity exists for significant contribution, for great ideas to come to life, to help make things better. So this is a good time to be coming to the public service. I'm reminded back to when my career started back in 1991, when at that time there were significant reductions happening in the public sector. There was very dire predictions for the future, and there were some steps that had to be taken. And people with good ideas, with commitment to critical thinking and good policy development or policy work, there's a place, even through challenging times, for a meaningful career to grow and develop. So perhaps enough said on that. So I guess just in conclusion of my welcoming remarks, I want to just reiterate that encourage you to approach your roles, whatever they are, with service in mind. Look for opportunities to make things better. Feel free to suggest ways to enhance services and to make things better. Students, those of you that are starting, that are only going to be here for a matter of weeks, you should still feel free to tell your managers what you see that can be that they might be able to do differently. I know in my time in health, we always benefited from the perspective of students about how to tighten up some of our processes. And take advantage of opportunities to learn. There are great opportunities inside government for learning. They happen on the job, through mentoring, through dialogue, for asking lots of questions of your colleagues. They also happen through where I'm sitting now, the Center for Learning and Development. There's a lot of terrific learning that you can take advantage of in the very way we're doing today through distance delivery. Stay safe, stay committed, stay hopeful, make the best of your experience, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your session. Thanks very much, everybody.
Thanks so much, Bruce. And a lot of things that you were saying there, we're actually going to look at during the session. For example, we do show the We Are video that just provides, an array of different roles that are part of the public service and roles and whatnot that people don't perhaps even associate with being a public service employee. And once again, to echo what you said, definitely in the time that I've been here 7 years now, everyone, and I can honestly say that again, yes, it's one of those employers. There's so many departments, there's so many functions and roles, and lots and lots of opportunity for growth and not only career development but personal development as well. Quite key. And most importantly, we certainly wish every one of you to have much success in whatever time you may have here. So thank you, Bruce, so much for coming along. Very much appreciate that. And thank you. Thanks, everyone. I'm just going to shift over here, folks, a little bit. Their screens. And but we have another activity I'm going to get you to participate in now. Again, just to get to know each other a little better. And even though we are a virtual session here this morning, it doesn't matter. We can still take some time to get to know each other. So this particular activity is all about you. So thought it might be a great little icebreaker for us to have you share your favorite meal or food, your favorite movie, your favorite vacation spot. Always very interested to see who chooses my favorite meal. Cinnamon rolls, pizza, bacon. Of course, bacon's a standard. I think bacon goes with everything. Movie theater popcorn, I know, eh? Like, how can you not? Lasagna right up there. Pizza, lasagna, barbecue steak. Yeah, definitely. Pasta. Jig's dinner. We got our first Jig's dinner in the house. Pizza, ribs, salmon. God, you're making me hungry now. Hungarian goulash, stews, chocolate of all varieties. Perfect. And how about, yeah, your movies. I see some of you are moving on now to the second category, your favorite movies. Citizen Kane, Shawshank, absolutely. Love that movie. Walk to Remember. Don't think I've seen that one. Grease. Finding Nemo. Some of my favorite films are animation. I love them. Titanic. Pride and Prejudice. Star Wars. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the first one, yep. Southpaw. Haven't seen that one. Lion King. Sound of Music. Notebook. Perfect. A lot of great entries there. Lord of the Rings. Yeah. And favorite vacation spots. And it can be either somewhere you've actually been or somewhere you just want to go so desperately. South America, I've not been there. I've been to Jamaica, Dubai, Switzerland, Darjeeling, Switzerland again, Bahamas, Japan. Totally agree with you, Lynn. Went on a cruise last summer. It was the first time we'd been, and it was awesome. Peru, definitely. Hawaii, Vermont, Africa, St. Lucia. Anywhere warm. Well, we've had the wrong kind of warm the last couple of days. We've had that sticky kind of humid warm, which is not enjoyable. Every day on the cruise last summer down south, it was 33 degrees, and every port you walked into, it didn't feel like, sweltering. It's really unique. It can be hot down there, but it's a pleasant hot. Really cool. Greens Pond. Been there many times, actually. I'm from Bonavista, North Megan, so from up around where I'm. So I've been to Greens Pond quite a few times. Love it down there. It's actually, I was saying to my wife a few days ago, we went out to Trinity, Bonavista, Port Rexton we actually stayed in, and there were some icebergs in, and I said the biggest iceberg I ever saw was back in the late 90s from Greens Pond. It was massive. Holy moly. It was huge. London, England, definitely on my bucket list. Want to get over there. And perfect, yeah. I bet there are some nice icebergs out there now. Thanks everyone for participating. That was a lot of fun, and it's just an opportunity for you to not to feel like you're just names on an attendance list there. That there's people behind the names, and that's really what that was all about there for you. Perfect. Let's continue on. I'll get back to the presentation, and you'll see your screen change yet again. And I'm going to give you a few questions now that I'm going to get you engaged to answer. And again, this is a building on who you are out there and who we have attending the session this morning. So the first question, you're going to see your screen change yet again. This is just a quirky little question to make sure your polling is working and whatnot. So I'm just going to open up the polling here. You will see results here, broadcast. But as the question says here, this is just to test out your polling and whatnot, so have fun with it. On a given day, I spend more time working, studying, sleeping, eating, texting, exercising, or web browsing. It's always good to see the answers that come into this one. Perfect. So I'll just end it there. That was just, as I said, a chance for us to test out our polling. So 61%, not a surprise there. The vast majority of us spend most of our time working, and there are a number of you still very active in your studies, so not surprised there. Eating is also a very popular pastime. There's no doubt about it. So 11% of you have confessed and admitted that, yes, you do spend most of your day eating. So kudos to you. Enjoy that. And move on to our next question. Are you student, full-time employee, part-time or contractual or seasonal employee? So let's open up this poll here and see what we have there. Who do we have online today with us? And I'm usually not surprised with these results, to be quite honest. It's pretty much, you know, no surprise in terms of what we have here. And once again, you know, 91% of you are student employees. That's not surprising. This time of year, when we get into May, June, July, the vast majority of our new hires are students. So that's, like I said, that's not surprising at all. That 91% of you are student employees. But here's an interesting question. I'm looking at figuring out here how many of you may have actually worked with us in the past before. And again, it's not surprising to have people who've worked more than once with us. They might be returning co-op students or other kind of students. It could be sometimes it's permanent employees who were here previously. They went on to another role and now they're back. So it's a great question to sort of get to know, again, who we have, who your fellow participants are. So I'll close it out here. And as we can see, 85% have never worked here before, but we have some folks in the session who worked here at least one time previously, and a couple who've worked here actually more than once in the past. So again, we do find that we have folks who are returning. You'll see your screen change yet again. One second here. Start my webcam back up. There we go. And here's the one I need right here. Sorry again, folks, you're going to see your screen change again. Let me close out this one for you. And I'm going to give you an opportunity now to formally introduce yourselves. Main things I'm looking for here: what department are you in with us? Where are you located today? And where you worked or studied, if you happen to be a student, as most of you are. You can speak to where you're studying, like what year you're in, that sort of thing. And I'm going to go on mute. I'm just going to let you guys do the typing there, and you can read each other's responses. Kendra, I saw that you had your hand raised. Did you have a question or a comment? You're okay? Perfect. Well, I was speaking offline. I have a colleague of mine here in the room with me observing the session, and we were talking about the sheer the talent that we're looking at here in the meeting here this morning. All kinds of experience. People are joining us from all over the place. Lots of different fields of study that people are, enrolled in currently. And one of the things I said to Catherine here is, I said, look at all of the different departments that are represented here. One of the great things about our co-ops and our other student programs is, it's not one or two set departments that people end up in. You can see here through the list of departments represented that, there's a lot of different areas of government that are represented. So I'll close it out. I just wanted you to have an opportunity, as I said, to get to know each other a little better there, and return now to the presentation. So thanks everyone for your contribution. As I said, I'm just amazed at the number of departments represented, and the people we have in this session this morning, and the sheer talent that you're bringing here. And you heard Bruce say earlier in his executive welcome that even if you're a student employee, contribute, have your say, and make recommendations and whatnot in your department. Be part of the process, and not just someone who's just employed here. So thanks so much for that. Appreciate that. I'm going to, in the next few slides, in the next section here, I'm just going to go over essentially a little bit about working in the public service. Oh, I see your comment there, Kendra. I'm not sure what that is. Apologies for that. Kendra, if anything like that persists, it's very easy just to click on the red X up in the upper corner, leave the room, and come back in, okay? And that goes for all of you folks. If any of you have any kind of technical glitches or anything like that, sometimes it's just simply close out the meeting and then go back to your meeting invite and click on the link and join again, okay? Working in the public service, I'm a huge believer in the idea of, if you're working at, whether it's government or private sector or wherever, that you really should know a little bit about the place that you're working in. And so this next section is dedicated to, providing a little more info on the public service. We're going to get you started off with a short video. It's a video we produced a couple years ago. It's called We Are, as in We Are the Public Service. And there will be a little activity that follows this. Here's what I want you to do. Think about, prior to you joining the government of Newfoundland and Labrador, think about what you initially thought a, quote, government job was all about. So just put that in your minds for a second. What did I think working in government was all about? Now I'm going to show you the video, and after the video, I'm going to ask you a question. So I will mute my speakers in the room here, and Mike. Actually, I just need to mute my mic because you'll get some terrible echo and feedback. I would caution you to, I think the video does come in a bit loud, so you might want to adjust your volumes and whatnot. The last couple times it did not do it though, so we could be good. But let's take a look at the We Are video. And what it does is it displays some of the types of roles and fields and whatnot that are part of the public service. So once again, I'll just ask you to maybe check your volume, and I will mute my microphone. Perfect. Okay. Well, I hope that stream fine for everyone. If anyone had any issues with the streaming, by the way, a little bit later on, I'm going to show you your course page in our e-learning system. I got a dedicated course page there, and the video will be available through that course page. So if anyone had any issues, I know sometimes there can be issues with internet and whatnot. So not to fear, though. It will be available, and in fact, all the materials that I'm going to be referencing here are going to be available at the end of the session today. So I had you think about your thoughts on the public service and what you envision the public service to be all about before you were hired, and now I want you to think, after having seen that video, what resonated with you about that video. You'll see your screen change again, and I want you to share your thoughts, folks. There's no right or wrong here. You came into government with perhaps an idea as to what kind of jobs government entailed and whatnot. You could see the diversity of roles there. There's some comments that you want to share about the video and what stood out for you and what resonated with you. Just give you a few minutes there to share your thoughts. Okay. I'll touch base with you. Okay. When it's on I'll sit there and go here. Like if I remember the building, like for example, might be outside for it. Nothing. It does. There's like just like to spin it off into like 1,000,001 little spots. Just chatting offline here with my colleague Catherine, and really enjoying the comments that are coming in. Yeah, some very interesting concepts. I'm just going to let you read. I'm not necessarily going to read out what's on our chat board here. I'm just going to let you read through them yourselves. Perfect. Well, I think you've captured the essence of what I was, expecting to see here. And indeed, a lot of the comments that you've made, we get this every session. The general theme of what we were seeing here in your response is that this is a very diverse employer in terms of opportunities and the number of roles that are out there. There were comments to the effect that I didn't realize these types of positions were public service positions. I always thought they were more private sector, and indeed, comments that speak to really the work we do here. It does touch the lives of people out there. I mean, we are in a unique role here as government employees because, yes, we're employees, but we're citizens as well. We're taxpayers as well. We're voters as well. So, the thing that I always say to people is go into your jobs wanting to do what you would expect from you, the citizen. So, go into your work with that enthusiasm and that focus and energy that you would expect being on the opposite side of the fence. I think there's one more comment coming in. There we go. Definitely. Well, thanks everyone. Again, fabulous contributions, and very appreciative of that. So we'll get back to our presentation here now. So I'm going to get into asking some more questions of you. And again, this is in the, I guess, this is all about how well you may think you know your employer. So don't worry about it. No, this is not a quiz per se. No one's going to test you or anything like that. But I got a series of questions that I always like to ask during the welcome sessions to government, because one of the things, as I said, from my standpoint, that I'm always keen on is people knowing a bit about the place they work in. So this is an opportunity here. We got some fun questions I'm going to ask here that let you sort of reflect on how well you know your new employer. So you're going to see your screen change again. And we'll pull up the first question here and advance that slide there first. Give me 1 second here. There we go. So let me pull up the polling question, and you will see the results broadcast live for these questions. How many employees are there in the core public service? What do you think? Again, I understand there's an element of guessing. That's not a problem. But what do you think it would be? I think people are switching around their responses now. Happens every time. I'm going to end the poll here. Let's just do a snapshot of what we have. So 44% of you think it's C, 8800, and very closely B, 8100. So let's keep that in mind here. I'm going to minimize this window here now. The actual number of employees is 8100. So the vast majority of you were definitely in the right ballpark there with that. So 8,100 core public service employees. So that means, core government, the 15 departments. It doesn't include, like, the health authorities and Board of Educations and that sort of thing. Next question. What do you believe is the gender breakdown of the public service? Very interesting question. Let me maximize that one for you and activate the polling. What do you think is the gender breakdown of the public service? Give it a couple seconds. Okay, I'm going to end the poll here. And as it last sat, 54% believe it's 60% male, 40% female, followed closely by a percentage that favors female of 55% and 45% male, and 5% of you, only a couple of you, believe it's 50-50, and 8.57, or 3 of you, believe it's 40 male, 60 female. Let's look at the answer. The 5% of you who said 50-50, you're correct. That's one of the great things about the public service as an employer. It's hard to find that distribution in a lot of organizations out there, private and, not-for-profit and whatnot. So pretty much these statistics are current as of March 31st, so fairly recent. So that's something that I think we can be very proud of our employer, that we have that kind of representation. Next question. Now, I added this question. This was not initially in here. But someone asked me in a previous session, well, if it's 50-50 breakdown, what would be the breakdown of our executive team in terms of gender breakdown? What do you think your thoughts are there? Wow, this one's really evenly distributed at this point. Very interesting. Okay, I'm going to give it 5 seconds before I end the poll. 3, 2, 1. So at the time I ended the poll, very even distribution. I won't even count the percentages there because they're so close. They're all in the low to mid 2s. So yeah, we're not really 100% sure what to think on this one. The actual answer is 51-49. So once again, very evenly distributed in terms of gender breakdown, even amongst the ranks of our executive team. So 51%, 49% male. And that might be surprising to some of you. That's one of the reasons why I put these slides up here. Finally, which one am I at? Number 7. Question 7. Here we go. And let me open this one for you. What do you believe is the average employee age in the public service? Average age, do you believe? Five seconds. End poll. So an overwhelming here believe it's 45 years of age, and the next closest was 49, with 14.7% of you thinking that. I believe you're in the right ballpark on this one. Let's just advance the screen here and see what it says. And it is indeed, as the vast majority of you indicated, 45 years old. That's actually come down. When I joined back in 2009, I believe it was up around 48 or so. So that age has come down a little bit in that time. And one more question about your employer and public service and where you work. What percentage of the core public service is eligible to retire, do you think, in the next 5 years? So let's open up that question for you and see what you think there. What percentage of core public service is eligible to retire within the next 5 years? Okay, let's end the poll there. Let's see what we have. Vast majority of you believe it's 35%, and that follows by 20% of you think it's 22% are eligible to retire. Let's just see what we have here. See what the answer is. What did I had 22%. I had when I opened up the question, I had 22%. That's my apologies. That's an error. It should have said 25. You're right. Those of you, the 20% of you who indicated, well, 22% you said, it's actually 25%. 25% of the employees in the core public service are eligible to retire in the next 5 years. So there you have it. I just wanted to take that opportunity for you to, you'll see your screen change again, to get to know a little bit about the place you work, your employer, the government of Newfoundland, Labrador. And I'm pretty sure there might have been some eyebrows raised at some of those numbers and whatnot. And that's one of the reasons why I put that up there. This part of the section here now, I'm going to talk about some things that really are a part of your onboarding experience that complement today's session. So in other words, what I'm saying is that today's welcome session is just that. It's a welcome session for you. One of the things we have to accomplish in this session, though, is that when you are done today, that you understand some of the things that are still going to be required of you as new employees, things that you need to do, some e-learning that we want you to take, and some other things as well. And I'm going to go over those now because I want you to understand that, as I mentioned, this session today is only one small component of your onboarding experience. It goes, there's a number of other things that you will have access to and that you are required to complete and whatnot as part of your onboarding experience. And you know what, I understand the vast majority of you online are student employees. Really doesn't matter. I mean, we treat all employees the same. We expect the same for all new employees in the onboarding experience. So here's some things I'm going to go over here. What I've done for you is so that you know what's required of you and some of the main to-dos after this session, I've developed a post-session to-do list. That's just to help you out. So you're going to see your screen change. And I'm just going to share what that actually looks like for you. Let me find that for you. 1 second here, folks. Just pull that up. There it is. Just want you to have a quick visual of the document so that you can see it. So, I've broken it into, all employees. There's, learning required that we want you to do. And I'm going to talk about PS Access, our e-learning site, in a bit and do a little bit of a demonstration there of that site. But this document I will make available at the end of the session. You can download it right after we're done here today. But it's just a quick little list that says, after the session, we expect you to do the following things in addition to some of the other things that we want you to do, okay? So that's what that document looks like. And I'll go back to the presentation here again now. Return there. PS Access. I'm going to talk a little bit about PS Access. That's the brand name for our e-learning site. Stands for Public Service Access. So it is host to a number of e-learning courses, a few of them which we expect you to complete in the coming weeks as new employees. It also has a number of other great resources as well, not just e-learning. There's tutorials in there, and there's documents and videos and recorded webinars and a whole slew of other items in there. For example, and I'm going to do a demonstration of PS Access in a bit here, but just go through the next couple of slides. You're expected to complete the following e-learning courses. Access to information and the protection of privacy. Cannot stress the importance of that enough. I'm sure you've heard in the media in recent years situations of privacy breaches and things of that nature. That e-learning course provides direction for you in terms of what's considered okay to do as part of your roles and what's considered not okay. Can't stress the importance of that enough. The second one is maintaining a harassment and discrimination-free workplace. Very important e-learning. Occupational health and safety orientation, definitely. Information management at work. I am at work. So that talks about, effective storing of files and things of that nature. A lot of things that we might just take for granted, but are so very important. And cybersecurity awareness is a relatively new e-learning that was just released back in the fall. And it talks about things like protocols around email and using your government ID, your government email for personal things and that sort of nature. So at the very minimum, we expect all new employees to complete these 5 e-learning courses in PS Access, which you're going to see in a few seconds here when I demonstrate it. If there are those of you online who are permanent employees and you are also eligible for the resource management package, In order to determine if you're eligible for the resource management package, you would have to contact the Center for Learning and Development, and we'll put you in touch with the right person. But the resource management package is a program dedicated to those employees in government who manage either finances or people. And these are very targeted e-learning courses to those employees. So if there are any of you online who may fit into the resource management package, then those e-learning right there. In fact, when you're enrolled in the program, you'll be sent a letter indicating all of the learning that's available to you and specific to you as a manager in government. PS Access, in addition to those e-learning courses, we have a number of Microsoft Office tutorials online there. Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, PowerPoint, etc., a number of recorded webinars. And by registration only, we do have some leadership development courses. And the reason we request registration forms for those is because there is a cost to us. So we need your manager or supervisor to sign off saying that they approve you requesting that. So you're going to see your screen change. I'm going to do a little bit of a demo now of PS Access. You'll see the website there, https://d2l. How many of you have used, I know we have a lot of student employees online, how many of you, if you could just go to the top, you'll see a little raised hand symbol. Click on agree if you have ever used Desire to Learn as a learning management system. Right at the top of your screen. Perfect, and I'm seeing a lot of raised hands, and I'm seeing a lot of check marks. A couple people have not used it before. Scrolling down here now. So a lot of you are very familiar with Desire to Learn, or D2L, as it's commonly referred to. You can click back on those icons now to turn them off. So PS Access is built on a D2L platform. So those of you who've used D2L, and there's a good few of you who have, then it's essentially the same platform. I'm going to do a little bit of a demonstration for you now, take you through signing into PS Access and where to find the onboarding course page that I've created. So I've got a course page in there, and we've just gotten it revamped. So we got a brand new, you're the very first crew to see the newly released onboarding course page in PS Access. So you're going to see your screen change again, and I'm going to share my desktop with you. Just give me 1 second here now while I do that. Perfect. So here's PS Access. This is the sign-in page. A couple things I want to point out here. Once you get your username and your password, and by the way, it will be unique. It won't be your regular government sign-in. It's going to be unique. You can request your PS Access account from right here, and all you do is you type in your work email address and submit request, and I'm not sure what the process is after that, but essentially it's automated, okay? So just to let you know, that's the main thing. When you sign into the site, your request button is right here for you, okay? So let me just sign in with my account. And I can't stress enough, you know, if you're wondering, well, why is this guy showing us an e-learning site? It's because so much of what you need to complement your onboarding experience here today is going to be found in here in your onboarding course page. So a couple of ways that you can find your onboarding course. You can go up here and type in onboarding, and the title of the course is now Onboarding, I think, New Employees 2016. Okay, so that's the course you'll need. Or down here in the main menu, Working in the Public Service. And right here, Onboarding. Okay? Now you'll figure this out, obviously. Once you get signed in, it's pretty straightforward. So basically, the new layout is categorized into what we call an accordion format. So we got, you know, a welcome message there from me, and again, my contact information is there for anything that you might require from an onboarding standpoint. e-learning courses that are available to you, and they link you right to those courses. And again, those of you who may be managers in the RMP program, those are those same courses I showed you there in the presentation. Upcoming sessions, so any new sessions that we might have in relation to onboarding, and I'll talk a little bit about those in a couple of minutes. Very quick link for you right here so you can see what might be upcoming related to onboarding. Important items for your review. I'm going to talk to these in a second, but that's where these are listed right here. And I got more information on those back in the presentation, so that's why I'm not really going into details here. Resources for all new employees. So here's your employee handbook. I'm going to show you that in a bit. And your onboarding checklist. We got that here. If you're working in or going to be visiting the St. John's area, there are House of Assembly tours, and always cool to do that. It takes about 45 minutes, and there is a process and a contact to get in touch with to arrange a tour. So like I said, if you work in St. John's or if you're going to be in the St. John's area at some point you want to pop in. I do believe they're still on Fridays. I got Friday highlighted there, but I do believe that is still the case. I haven't heard that it's changed, so it's I think typically like the last Friday of the month, just as an FYI. Resources for permanent or temporary employees. So we got pension plan information in here. We got information on information for your group benefits for those of you who have the health and dental benefits and that sort of thing. So we got links to that. So that targets more of the the permanent employees, but we also have carved out a section here for student employees, and we have websites, Office of Youth Engagement, GMO, getting the message out. That's also from the Office of Youth Engagement, and also from them UROC Volunteer Awards. So those of you, vast majority of you are student employees. When you pop into this site, by all means, click on those links. There's some really cool information in there. And a section called Wellness and Healthy Living for Employees, and a couple of links to a couple of documents that have a ton of resources that address the topic of wellness and healthy living for us employees. And finally, the last section down here, that's the We Are video that we saw earlier. So again, if any of you had any issues with streaming, just view it from here. And then for student employees down here, there's two recorded videos that we have for you. We do require registration. Now, you might be saying, well, why do I need to register for a recorded session? The reason is that primarily for tracking. And the other reason, tracking on our part, that is, what happens is when you're in, these are actual additional course pages. So you link out to them, and only people who have registered and had the registration form signed by their manager will get access to those linked out course pages, right? So the reason we ask for registration is twofold. One is for tracking on our part, and the second is it's still content that and time that it's going to take for you to review them. They're very short videos, having said that, but we still need your supervisor or manager to sign off saying, yes, we authorize John or Jane time to view the videos. And conveniently, we've got a link to the registration form there for you. So, you can put in Office of Public Engagement, Youth video, and Student Employment Bureau video on the one registration form. We'll figure that out from there, okay? So that's a very brief overview of PS Access, but it's very important because, as I said, there's aside from your onboarding course page, there are a number of other courses that are located through this main menu here for you, technology-based courses. And anything in here, the vast majority of courses in here, by the way, and other content, you don't require registration. So the things that we do require registration for, you'll see registration required beside it, just as we saw with these videos here. Okay, so I'll go back into the main meeting room again now. Give me 1 second here. Jump back in here. And a couple of other things I wanted to go over as well. In addition to today's session, there may be additional sessions that we can add. For instance, I'm currently working with our partners down the hall from me at the Office of Climate Change and Energy Efficiency. We want to get a greening government session, scheduled for you. No date and time confirmed yet, but we're looking at the possibility of delivering probably like a 90-minute session. And greening government is the government's government-wide initiative of creating a culture of sustainability. So it's essentially a program that has 5 pillars to it, and we got a slide dedicated to that. And it's a great thing, when we have, new employees coming on board. It's a great opportunity for us to deliver one of those sessions because the sessions are very targeted to, your backgrounds and ways that we can be greener as a government, as an employer. And, your comments and contributions to that process are key. So as I said, I apologize. We don't have a session time and date confirmed yet, but back in PS Access where it said upcoming sessions, when you click on that link, that would be the first point where I would advertise that once we get that in place. Those of you who are, I guess this is really for permanent employees, pensions overview session, look for a date and time of that as well. Nothing confirmed yet. It may be early fall, I'm thinking, for the next one of these two. Group benefits overview. What we're looking at there for group benefits overview, we're looking at doing some recorded content for that, but again, that's just in the discussion phase at this point. So for now, again, look for, in that link in PS Access, look for upcoming sessions, and that's where you'll find that. And again, for students, 2 recorded videos dedicated just for you from the Office of Public Engagement and the other one from the Student Employment Bureau. And the Student Employment Bureau coordinates the co-op programs. So they've been delivering a number of sessions to co-op students for a number of years now and working in partnership with us, the Center for Learning and Development. Other resources and tools, the onboarding handbook and checklist. I'm going to stop sharing here and just very briefly show you those 2 documents. So your handbook, I have to go out to another screen to get that again, folks. Just give me 1 second. The employee handbook, it's fairly extensive, but I can't stress enough the importance of reading it through because as a new employee, it really goes into great detail as to everything that you need to know starting out in your new roles here in government. And as you see, it's a fairly lengthy booklet, but very important and covers a wide range of topics to help you transition into your new roles and to your new employer. So welcome message, it goes on. We cover things like, just going to scroll down here a few pages for you. An introduction to government, a little bit about that, how your pay and benefits work, and a lot of things that you just might be asking off the top of your head as to working here. Again, even if you're a student, we strongly encourage you to read this booklet, and some of you may have already been given that as part of your department onboarding, and that's fantastic if you have. The second document. Oh, I think someone forgot to put themselves on mute because we can hear somebody talking in the background there. The second document is the onboarding checklist. Now with the onboarding checklist, you'll see your screen change there in a second. This is a checklist that's intended for you to review with your manager supervisor in the first couple of weeks of employment. I'm going to make both of these documents available to you at the end of the session for downloading. But again, it really keeps us focused in terms of covering off, and as I said, working with your manager or supervisor to ensure that you're reviewing all of these things, that you've read the scent policy, that you've read the smoke-free workplace policy, that you've discussed dress code with your manager or supervisor. So it really keeps us focused and on the things that we need to do in our first couple of weeks. We say to have this list completed within the first 2 weeks of employment. And if some of you have been here more than 2 weeks, that's not a problem. But do make every effort to go through this. And like I said, always touch base with your manager or supervisor throughout the process as you're going through it, okay? Because it really is working in tandem. And I'm a big fan of building a relationship with a manager or supervisor anyhow as a new employee. So that's the checklist, and that's what that's meant for. It's for you to go through with your manager and complete very early on in the process after being hired. Switch back to the presentation again here. And we're nearing the end. We don't have a whole lot to go yet. I just wanted to put up here that, you know, there's a number of things that we have available. I don't know if some of these subscriptions have expired or not. Conference Board of Canada, Occupational Health and Safety Canada Digital Magazine, I think that one's still active. Public Service Network Communications, PSN Communications. PSN Communications are any emails you get from Public Service Network, it's referred to. I cannot stress enough the importance of reading those emails that come out, because they are emails that provide information. It could be anything. It could be a building closure. It could be a notice about impending weather. It could be reminders about privacy, upcoming announcements and whatnot. So they're quite important. Also, make sure you take time to visit your own department's website and other departmental websites. There is a government online directory, a phone directory as well, that has the names of all government employees in it. And if you're not in the directory, please do advise your manager or supervisor. I'm going to talk about conflict of interest in a second. Healthy workplace, we've covered that off. Greening government, it should say. And Office of Public Engagement for youths. So that's a number of resources in addition to what we're covering off here that are available to you. Going to take a few moments here. I'm not going to bore you to death with very explicit details or anything like that, but it is important, and I am required as part of this session to mention a few things for you as new employees to make sure that we're advising you during this session of these things. And one of the things is conflict of interest. And in a nutshell is that, you know, your employees now of the Public Service of Newfoundland and Labrador, welcome, great to have you. But one of the things that's key to note is that if you are going to be engaging in other work external to your current role, and even if it's unpaid, even if it's voluntary, it's always a good idea to contact you know, this individual and, you know, say, hey, look, I also work as, you know, whatever. Do we see any issues with potential conflict of interest? In most cases, the vast majority of cases, it's not applicable, right? So, but we do have to state it and mention it during the session here. The other is our social media policy. Now, this one started out in December of 2013. It was approved, and it was communicated to all managers in early 2014. All employees, including our newest employees, are expected to review the social media policy. And I got the link right to that policy. There's, I think, a video that accompanies it as well, right in your PS Access course page, your onboarding course page. So it is expected for you to review that policy and to know it, because regrettably, folks, ignorance is not an excuse. And we are in a world where social media is prevalent and widely used, and we use it ourselves. Government has a Twitter account, and we have a Facebook page, and it is a great means to communicate and engage the public, but we got to be respectful as employees of how we use social media. And you are, by extension, a representative of the government of Newfoundland and Labrador, your employer. And so obviously conduct on social media is important. So please do read that policy. I cannot stress it enough. Public Interest Disclosure and Whistleblower Protection Act, and that's a mouthful. We have a link to that as well in your PS Access onboarding course page. This one came into effect in July of 2014. This, in a nutshell, protects us as employees. If we see something in our work environment that we believe is of a corporate wrongdoing nature, what this act does is it protects you and me as employees from any repercussions if we happen to, bring that information forward, that we've uncovered something in our work environment that we believe to be wrong, and the Act protects us, again, as I said, from any repercussions or what have you related to that. But that's just an overarching statement about the Act. Again, I don't, for the purposes of our session here this morning, I don't go into great detail about that. But the importance of you running through that document that we have in the PS Access course page for you. And this is the greening government slide here. I'm looking at possibly getting a session, and I would love for all of you to attend that once we get a date and time nailed down. And the 5 pillars of the green action plan here in government is procurement, so our purchasing and ensuring that we're purchasing green, waste diversion, how we are handling our recycling program, for example. The buildings themselves, are they the most energy efficient that they can be? Transportation, our fleet, are we purchasing vehicles that are eco-friendly? And of course the 5th pillar is arguably one of the most important. It's employee engagement, and that's where this session comes into play, because you all come from schools and other workplaces, and perhaps they have some fantastic green practices happening at that facility that you can share with us. So again, look for a date and time. I can't pin one down for you here, but I'm hoping the next upcoming weeks to have a session. And even if you're nearing, for those of you who are students, even if you're nearing your term and the session is a few days before the end of the term, we still would love your involvement, because you can be wonderful contributors to the process. We're getting near the end. As I said, this session usually goes anywhere from 90 minutes to the full 2 hours. A couple of points, though, I wanted to make, and echoing Bruce's comments at the beginning, in terms of be a part of your departments, be engaged. As it says here, enthusiasm is indeed infectious. So bring it to work every day. Share your ideas. Your contributions are indeed valued, and your ideas are great. They're fresh. You're a new set of eyes on this, so to speak. You're seeing things with a fresh angle, and we appreciate that, and we encourage you to provide your insights. Establish a relationship with your manager or supervisor. Absolutely, that checklist is a great way to do that. Just to sit with your manager from time to time and say, hey, I've got the following things completed, but this item here, I'm not sure about that. What do I do with that? Get to know your coworkers. They are certainly indeed a wealth of information, and we always say here, if your department does some social activities or whatnot, go out for coffee or whatever, certainly feel a part of that. If you're staying around for the next few weeks, the middle of June, the middle week in June is Public Service Week, and there are all kinds of events, both at the corporate level as well as down at your department level, that will be happening. And like I said, even just things like going out for lunch or whatever, feel a part of that. I certainly welcome any questions that you may have. Before we leave the session, there's a couple of things that I do want to do. One of them is get your very much valued feedback on this session here today, so that can help us determine some of the changes we may need to make or whatnot. So I'm going to ask those questions, and then after that I will bring up a screen that allows you to download the documents that I referenced here today. So I'll continue to look at the chat section if any of you have questions or not, but in the meantime, perfect. Thanks so much, everyone. Really appreciate the feedback and the comments. And again, as I said, we use that to help us, gauge perhaps where we want to go with the session down the road and that sort of thing. And look for ways that we can improve it if need be, and that sort of thing. The final screen you're going to see is an opportunity for you to, and I'm just going to hide that and share my camera instead. There we go. Go back to a live view. Perfect. And so the instructions there for downloading the three files that I referenced here today, the post-onboarding session. So that's the one that I created for you, just to help sort of guide you along in these next few days and weeks in terms of things you need to do. I have had some people complete them and then scan them and send them to me. That's kind of cool. I'm not saying you have to, but I am your corporate level, liaison, so to speak, for onboarding. So it's good to see when people do that, but it's not, required. Your onboarding employee handbook, again, yes, it's 30 pages and whatnot, but I'm telling you, it has a ton of great information, and it just sets the course for you right off the bat in terms of knowing about your workplace. And your onboarding checklist, a lot of items in there to cover everything from health and safety to getting your payroll and all that stuff, and a lot of information. And go through that, as I said, from time to time. Check in with your supervisor or manager, and I'd certainly ask any questions to them as well in terms of completing that. I typically stay live on the session afterward, and if any of you want to ask any questions, I stick around, like I said, for a few minutes. If you're okay and you have no questions, you can just say, I'm okay, or thank you, or whatever in the chat section, and you're good to go. And those of you who have questions, just do a raise hand, and in a couple minutes we'll either get to you verbally. You can use your mic or your phone if you're joining that way, or you can type your question in to me. So I'll just hang around and wait for your questions if there are any. Perfect. Okay, looks like the vast majority of you are good. So once again, folks, before I leave you today, I can't say enough. Really thrilled to have you all on board. And as Catherine and I were, she's off camera here, but we were talking during one of the activities about the talent that we have, in this meeting today, and we're very encouraged by that, and enjoy every day that you have working here, and take in, absorb everything you can, and get everything you can out of this experience. And once again, welcome to the government of Newfoundland and Labrador. It's great to have you all here. Thanks, everyone. I will